Welcome back to Scary Animal Attacks. Please take time to like and share today's video if you enjoy it and post it to your social media to let others know of our educational and entertaining channel. Today's episode takes us to the primitive and lush jungles of the Sundarbans near the Bay of Bengal in western India. The Sundarbans are a mangrove wilderness featuring closed and open mangrove forests, mudflats, barren land, as well as agricultural land local farmers use for subsistence farming. The area has a broad diversity of wildlife and is struggling to maintain the balance between the demands of mankind and nature. The area is dotted with tidal streams and canals that routinely flood and subside with the tide. The ground is almost always wet and muddy, so navigation requires a boat. The Sundarbans are an area that is protected from human encroachment for the most part. There is limited hunting or fishing in the area, but that doesn't always stop scofflaws or bandits. Many locals ignore the laws to gather crabs or fish for their own income without bothering to purchase a license. These kinds of people are not on the authorities' radar as they are unexpected to traverse the area. Ideally, travelers to the area would purchase a license or permit, and authorities would be made aware of where they are planning on going. Consequently, they know where and when to search for them if they overstay their plans. The subjects of our episode today are Sushil and his son Jyotish, as well as Sushil's adopted daughter Molina. The trio made plans to venture into the Sundarbans to a great spot for crab. They left at the break of dawn for a preserve called Kholakhali, a place in which fishing is banned. As they labored to paddle upstream, the sunlight grew brighter as the forest grew darker. 40-year-old Jyotish sat at the front of the boat to help navigate. Then 62-year-old Sushil in the middle with Molina at the end of the boat. The canopy stretched further across the sky and surrounded them in secrecy and isolation. Further and further they paddled until they arrived at their desired crabbing spot, and immediately started sorting through their equipment, preparing for today's catch. The jungle air is always heavy with humidity, and today was no different, but there was something else in the air that morning. The boat was very close to the banks and would be easy to get out of to hunt for crabs, but the unusual odor that drifted on the air brought caution to the minds of the group. They decided to paddle further out and away from the bank. Unbeknownst to the trio, they were not alone on this morning's journey. There was an observer sleeking silently in the bush alongside the group as they slowly paddled upstream. The observer had been following them for quite some time, hoping they would get close enough to the bank to allow for a lightning ambush. Patience is a valuable trait when you are one of the world's most fierce predators. The group changed the angle of their canoe and began to paddle toward the middle of the creek when all hell broke loose. Molina looked up soon enough to see a dark orange blur streaking toward the boat from the bank. She screamed, "Dada, bug!" which means tiger. Jyotish saw the blur pass him as he was frozen in fear. The tiger launched itself from the bank and landed on top of his father, Sushil. His father's legs were poking out from under the gigantic cat and were kicking all over, trying to get away. It took a few seconds for the dire situation to register to Jyotish before he searched around to find a stick, and Molina grabbed a jungle machete. The pair began attacking the tiger, but their strikes went completely ignored by the ravenous beast. The tiger clamped its jaws on Sushil's neck over and over until it got a good grip. Then it jerked its head back to flip his now limp body over onto its back. It next launched itself over the edge of the boat and landed on the bank with Sushil's body in its mouth. Brother and sister watched as the muscular beast disappeared into the dark forest with their father's body clenched in its jaws. Traumatized by the sight, Molina fainted as Jyotish yelled to signal nearby fishermen, who hastily paddled toward them. None of the people chose to follow the tiger into the jungle for fear of becoming its next meal themselves. Jyotish quickly began paddling his sister and their canoe back to safety to contact authorities. Neither the family nor the authorities made any attempt to, nor are optimistic about the recovery of Sushil's body. The hard reality of living in Bengal tiger habitat is something the indigenous people of the area have dealt with for thousands of years and will likely continue dealing with for the foreseeable future. Surviving widows of a man who's killed by a tiger are often ostracized in Indian culture due to the belief of the attack being caused by bad luck from the wife. I would love to read your thoughts on this episode in the comments below, and make sure to be safe as you never know when an animal might be watching you.